Look at this. The fucking humans are touching each other's hands, Ambassador Kaid exclaimed in a series of shrill clicks. The Comarian diplomat's chitinous mouthparts gaped in shock as he watched a recording of two humans clasping and shaking their hands vigorously, the fleshy appendages slapping together disturbingly. Don't they know how unsanitary that is? The germs, the diseases. Eric Grant sighed, straightening his tie before clicking his response. It's called a handshake. It's a standard human greeting. We've been over this. The seasoned human diplomat stood before the entrance to the Galactic Council's Grand Central Chamber, readying himself for a momentous occasion that had taken years of tense negotiations to achieve: Earth's official entry into the Council. Kaid's long, spindly legs clattered against the polished floor as he led Eric inside. Well, keep that filthy gesture to yourself. If any of the Council members see it, your species' reputation will be ruined before you even reach the podium. As Eric entered the chamber, he was greeted by the sight of a vast array of alien species, each more bizarre than the last. Insectoids, reptilians, amorphous blobs, all watched him with wary eyes. He knew that many of them still viewed humanity as a primitive, violent race, barely worthy of a seat at the table. He would have to tread carefully to prove them wrong. But as Eric approached the central dais, a shrill alarm blared through the chamber. On the giant view screen behind the podium, a fleet of angular black warships emerged from warp, their weapons glowing an ominous red. "Attention, Galactic Council," a harsh mechanical voice boomed. "Your judgment for crimes against the Zorlak Imperium has arrived. Prepare for elimination." Eric's blood ran cold. The Zorlaks were supposed to be extinct, their machine empire destroyed centuries ago. If they had returned now, with the Council utterly unprepared. He glanced at Kaid, seeing his own grim realization mirrored in the Comarian's compound eyes. The Council was doomed unless the humans did something crazy, introducing these dithering, self-important aliens to humanity's secret weapon. Something so unexpected and appalling to their sanitized sensibilities that they'd almost rather die. Something that Eric and all his predecessors had kept carefully hidden until the day would come when humanity's survival depended on it. Eric smiled tightly and raised his hands. It was time to show these pompous alien bastards the true power of dexterity, the way humans had greeted each other for millennia, with a vigorous, no-holds-barred handshake. And God help any aliens who were too disgusted to accept it. The council chamber burst into pandemonium. Insectoid representatives clicked their mandibles in distress, while amorphous blob diplomats quivered and undulated with anxiety. Reptilians hissed and thrashed their tails. Eric had to sidestep a panicking avian delegate who nearly bowled him over in a flurry of feathers. Amidst the chaos, he noticed Kaid tapping furiously on a device strapped to his forearm. The Comarian's long, dexterous appendages moved with surprising speed and precision. Suddenly, a shimmering blue force field sprang into existence, surrounding the entirety of the Council headquarters. "Comarian emergency shielding," Kaid explained, his compound eyes reflecting the force field's glow. "Top of the line, but it won't hold for long against Zorlak weapons." Eric turned to the view screen, where the angular black warships loomed. They had already arranged themselves into a tight attack formation, main guns aimed directly at the Council building. His eyes narrowed as he studied their positioning. Memories of tactical briefings and war games flooded back to him. Every human diplomat was required to have military experience, and his was already proving invaluable. He strode up to the central dais, raising his hands high. His tall, confident form commanded attention, and gradually the clamor died down as all eyes turned to him. "Representatives of the Council," he boomed, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "We don't have much time. The Zorlaks have superior firepower and technology, but they're rigid, inflexible. They can't adapt to the unexpected. That's where we have the advantage." Kaid scuttled up beside him, nodding vigorously. "The human is right. I say we put together a joint strike team. Every species contributes their best operatives, their most unique skills. If we combine our strengths, we might have a chance." A rumble of approval passed through the gathered aliens. Eric felt a spark of hope. They could do this, they had to. Just then a tremendous boom shook the building. On the view screen one of the Zorlak ships had fired, its beam slamming into the force field. The shield flickered and wavered under the onslaught. "Shield's at 60%, Keed reported grimly. "We need to act fast before they—" Another earth-shattering impact. Cracks appeared in the force field. The countdown had begun. Another blast rocked the chamber, chunks of ceiling raining down. Eric and Keed shared a determined look before springing into action. They quickly assembled the council representatives, detailing the capabilities each species would contribute. The Komar unveiled an array of sleek silver devices. Nanite swarms, phase cloaking, singularity missiles. "Just a few tricks up our carapace," Kaid said with a clack of his mandibles. A towering insectoid in gleaming black armor stepped forward, sharpened foreclaws raised in salute. "The Kilterra warrior caste is ready to slice through Zorlak hulls and rip out their wretched circuits," it buzzed. Globular Narua undulated, glowing patterns flashing across its translucent skin. "Our telepathic web will make those machines malfunction with madness." All eyes turned to Eric expectantly. He tapped his wrist communicator. "Earth, we need the Zeus fleet ASAP. Bring the thunder." Moments later, a shimmering portal tore open above the beleaguered council ships. Sleek human warships poured through, bristling with prototype railguns and fusion lances. The Allied fleet surged forward as one, Kilterra drop pods spearing into Zorlak ships, while Narua telepathic attacks sent robotic crew into spasms. Komarian hackers wormed past firewalls, planting viral logic bombs. Aboard his command ship, Eric watched the Zorlak fleet's formations, an uncanny synchronization to their movements. "Like a hive mind or a central AI," he whispered. "That's their weakness." He pulled Keed aside. "I have a plan. I need you to trust me." The Komarian nodded solemnly. Minutes later, a human shuttle streaked towards the Zorlak flagship. Eric and an elite team of soldiers clad in sleek black exosuits. They struck the hull, mag boots clanging, and carved their way inside. Swarming security drones poured into the corridor, all flashing lights and whirring blades. The humans lunged forward, a choreographed dance of destruction. Armored fists lashed out in lightning jabs, striking vital joints and sensors with pinpoint precision. Robotic limbs crumpled and sparks flew, as the humans dismantled the drones by hand, their exosuits giving them superhuman speed and strength. Council feeds showed the brutal efficiency of human close-quarters combat, a far cry from their sanitized space battles. The team pulverized their way to the AI core, a vast chamber pulsing with malevolent crimson light. At its heart was a polyhedral device covered in shifting, interlocking plates, the core's physical shell. Eric reached for it, but the plates whirred and spun, forming an impenetrable barrier. A timer began counting down as Zorlak ships pressed the attack outside, the Allies faltering. Eric stared at the interlocking plates shielding the Zorlak AI core, his heart pounding. Sweat beaded on his brow inside his helmet. The timer ticked down relentlessly. 29:49, 58. He scanned the barrier's intricate patterns, gears turning in his mind. There was a logic to it, a hidden solution. His eyes widened as realization struck. It was a puzzle lock, meant to be solved by dexterous appendages, not blunt human hands. But that was their mistake. Eric lunged forward, armored fingers flying over the plates. He traced grooves and protrusions, manipulating mechanisms with uncanny precision. The barrier shifted and transformed at his touch, panels sliding and reconfiguring. Back in the council chamber, Keed and the others watched the helmet feed in astonishment. The human's manual dexterity was unbelievable. Eric's hands moved in a blur, cracking the alien lock with pure skill. "By the Queen Mother," Caird breathed. "I've never seen anything like it." Eric's team followed his lead, attacking different sections of the lock. Servos whined in their exosuits as they poured inhuman speed and strength into the task. The Zorlak ship shuddered around them. Weapon systems failed, engines sputtered. The tide was turning outside as the Allied fleet pressed the advantage. With a final wrenching twist, the barrier cracked open. A hidden panel slid aside, revealing a pulsing crystalline core. It thrummed with malevolent light, the heart of the Zorlak AI. Eric glanced at his team, signaling hastily. They had to destroy the core, but a fail-safe would trigger a self-destruct. They needed to be fast and precise. Reaching out, he tapped a rapid pattern on each soldier's arm. To the Council's confusion, they nodded in understanding, moving to encircle the core. As one, the humans struck. Armored fists rained down on the crystal in a symphony of destruction, targeting structural weaknesses with pinpoint accuracy. The core pulsed frantically as the team tore into it. Hairline fractures spiderwebbed across the surface. A high keening wail built within the core. The humans ripped away crystal shards, servos screaming. In a blinding flash, the core shattered. The wail cut off instantly. Utter silence fell. Zorlak ships drifted lifelessly on the view screens. Keed and the council members erupted into raucous cheers. Against all odds, they had won. But the taste of victory turned to ashes in Eric's mouth as red lights flashed on the flagship's walls. A countdown began, the numbers ticking away. "Warning!" a robotic voice intoned. "Self-destruct sequence initiated." Eric's heart hammered against his ribs as he raced through the Zorlak flagship's twisting corridors, his team close on his heels. The countdown echoed in his ears, a relentless reminder of their dwindling time. They rounded a corner and skidded to a halt. A massive blast door blocked their path, its control panel a sparking ruin. Eric slammed his fist against the unyielding metal. No way to hack it open. He turned to his team, their faces tight with fear beneath their helmets. "Get to the escape pods. I'll hold the door open." "Sir, no," Lieutenant Reyes protested. "We're not leaving you." "That's an order," Eric snapped. "I'm the only one with an exosuit strong enough. Now go." Reluctantly, they obeyed, sprinting for the pods. Eric braced himself against the door, engaging his suit's enhanced strength. Servos whined as he strained, slowly prying the door open. In the council chamber, Kaid watched the live feed in disbelief. Eric's muscles bulged as he fought against the door's immense weight, his hands locked in an iron grip. The countdown ticked away, 60 seconds. The ship shuddered and groaned, hull plates buckling. Eric's team piled into the pods, shooting Kaid one last desperate look before the hatches sealed. 30 seconds. Gritting his teeth, Eric wedged his exosuit into the doorframe, locking it open. "Launch!" he shouted. The pods blasted away, vanishing into the stars. Eric sagged in exhausted relief. They were safe. 10 seconds. The Zorlak flagship tore itself apart, explosions ripping through its decks. In a blinding flash of light and fire, it disintegrated. Silence fell over the council chamber. Every eye was fixed on the view screen, where the flagship had been just moments before. Eric's final moments played on a loop, his selfless act seared into their memories. Kaid felt a profound mix of grief and awe. The human had given everything to save his crew, his allies. Eric's sacrifice had shown them the depths of human courage and resilience. As the Zorlak fleet drifted lifeless and broken, the Allied ships regrouped. Damage reports flooded in, but they had survived. Against all odds, they had emerged victorious. Keed knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, filled with untold threats. But now the Council had seen the true strength that lay in unity, in embracing their differences. Eric had proven that humans belonged among the stars, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Council races. His legacy would live on, inspiring them to forge a new path together. Kaid's thoughts were interrupted by a commotion on the human comm channel. Frantic voices overlapped, something about an emergency beacon. He leaned forward, hardly daring to hope. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.